Yep, I'm in Act 3. This is just me being me. I hope you'll see God's not through with us yet.
Hey everybody, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I know you may have found me on ads or something that's been running on YouTube, and you're curious, thinking, what is she doing? Well, you're not the only one who's curious. I have no clue what I'm doing here, absolutely none. This has been an adventure from the onset. A little quick backstory. I did not volunteer to do this. I'm not being held with a gun to my head or a knife to my back by any stretch, but I was encouraged by some people who said I had a story to tell, and maybe it could be an encouragement to other people who are in my age group, and that I need to share it. So that's why I'm here. But I've been sitting here thinking, we ought to form a group, because there are only about 100 million YouTube channels right now, maybe called Podcast Anonymous, and I could stand up and say, hey, my name is Margo. I have no clue what I'm doing. And that is the honest to goodness truth. As you can see, this is being filmed in my home. I should say our home. My dear husband, who has left the house now, kind of a parody off of Elvis leaving the building. Well, he's left the house. He has no clue what I'm doing. He has a degree in psychology. He said he married his case study. I think he's really thinking that started to come to life here, because the first time that I set up this little podcast tripod and iPhone and all of this, he walked into the house, slammed the door, sneezed and blew his nose. And then he looked up and he went, oh, law. And I said, yeah, oh, law is right. He said, well, I didn't know I was going to end up being married to Taylor Swift in a recording studio. And he turned around and walked out. So that blew that demo. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to start over again. So set up my little tripod, got my little iPhone out, turned it sideways, looking at the little green light, pretending like I can see both of you who are sitting out there, which is probably about how many are out there right now watching this. The other 100 of you probably turned off after 5 seconds, but I did my 5 minutes and I was so excited, and I brought my little iPhone down. I had no clue. I was pressing into the 2 buttons to alert an SOS emergency signal. I didn't even know it. That emergency signal went to my dear husband. Asked me if he even came by and checked on me, if he called me. I said I could have been dead on the floor with a tripod impaled in my chest. He wouldn't have even known it. So that's another issue for possibly another podcast. And speaking of that, this may be the only podcast. So if you want to, you may record it, because it could be a collector's item. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. You maybe have seen the little logo that's out there, laughs, lyrics, life lessons, Act 3, with my name and my little round face picture on there. Laughs, I'm not a stand-up comedian. First, as my husband said, I'd have to be able to stand up, and that's not going to happen at this age. The second is the comedic part only comes naturally. None of this is planned. I seem to have lived my life in a state of laughter somehow. And the lyrics will come later in an explanation of why is that on there? What does that have to do with my life? Well, a quick little aside here. I didn't know I could write lyrics until I was in my 70s. I know, it's shock and awe, isn't it? Who would have thunk? I said, God has a sense of humor to reveal this gift to me during this stage of my life. And you all may have heard the term Act 3. Well, Act 3 is designed for people, I'd say 60-ish and older, those who have worked outside the home and who've retired and they've raised their family, and they have, you've heard the term the empty nester and all this, and they're thinking, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Do I just play cards, or do I work out all the time and go out to lunch and all of that? As I have said in my little intro ditty, God's not through with us yet. And I can't wait to share my story of how did this music even come into my life at this stage of my life. So Act 3 is for those of us who, and you've heard the term reinvent yourself. I don't know, I think of the word of transforming yourself, which we have biblically as well. And I think it's a chance for us to capture maybe a vision that we didn't even have for ourselves, but God plants it in our lives. And my husband and I have always said and have heard the term of coincidence, God's way of remaining anonymous. Well, he remained anonymous until about 2 years ago in my life, which I would be love to share with you of how all that happened as well. The lyrics, I'll talk about that later as well. Life lessons, I'm not on this journey alone. And I think for those of you who are interested to hear how others have transformed their lives or use the term reinvented their lives, I would hope we could share on this journey together as an encouragement to each other. There may be some of you out there who said, you know what, I've got a great story and I'd love to share that with others. If you want to, put it on the website, and I'll be glad to share that and we can talk about it. Hopefully I'll be able to have some folks on here who have found a way to reinvent themselves, transform themselves, renewed themselves. It just goes back to the fact that, we have to accept where we are in life and we don't need to fight it. I've got one friend who absolutely could not accept how old she was. And I went to the grocery with her one day. And so she went over into the wine area and I said, why are you over here? I said, you don't even drink. She said, watch. So she picked up some bottle of something or another and put it in her cart. And we get to the checkout counter and she goes through the line and this young man standing back there and he said, I need to see an ID. Well, she was beside herself. She turned around and winked at me. She said, I'll be glad to show you my ID. I said, good grief. I said, that's the reason you're doing this, isn't it? She said, it is the reason I'm doing it. It's the only time that I'm ever asked how old I am. And because they think that I'm not 21 or 18, I'm asked to show my ID. I said, that's just pitiful. She said, I may be pitiful. As she walked over to return the wine, it becomes a regular thing for her to do. So she's not really accepting where she is in her life. But I've embraced it. I'm grateful for every day that the Lord gives to be able to get up and we say, stand up, sit up, take nourishment, and then think, what's going to be revealed today? And that's what I'd like to share with you on this journey. So my name is Margo. It's called Laughs, Lyrics, and Life Lessons for Act 3. And I hope that you'll come back and join me. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Yep, I'm in Act 3. This is just me being me. I hope you'll see God's not through with us. Yes.